So I grabbed the Demon X Machina Titanic Scion demo thinking, all right, I'm going to play a couple of hours of this demo, see what this game is about, seeing that this is a sequel to the 2019 Demon X Machina game. And 2 hours later, my hands were still buzzing because, man, I was just sitting here wondering how amazing these mech games truly are. So over the course of my lifespan, I've poured hundreds of hours into the original Armored Core series. I think the only one I haven't played yet was the newest one. I played Zone of Enders, and I even played the weird Macross titles on the PS2. And nothing, and I mean nothing, has prepared me for this demo. Just rewriting the playbook on the fly, and that's what I find very infatuating about these mech games. Even with games like Mecha Break or Sensuality of Ada, that they always find some way to change the script on these mech games.
I've been on the run all day.
So starting off, the demo boots you straight into a character customization screen. It's pretty standard fare, simple, but some cool presets and color palettes for your pilot's outfit, which lulled me into this false sense of familiarity. Then the opening cutscenes hit. We're saved from an individual named Nerve. Now, someone we apparently knew before getting turned into some lab experiment. The visual art style is immediately striking, like a Code Vein inspired mech anime has come to life, and the soundtrack is just pure fire. The guitar riffs kicking in at all the right moments. Your first real choice is made very clear. You could pick a lightweight or a medium weight mech, and this is going to be your mech moving forward, essentially. I went with the lightweight and thinking that this will allow me to get a very high mobility, probably quicker attacks, something of that nature. And then once I chose this mech, things immediately went from 0 to 100. Now, after a harrowing opening sequence where we failed to save Nerve during his final stand against a beast called the Tyrion, we fall to a random planet and meet our first crewmates, Toby and Forge. Now, they are introducing us to the world map and overall your base of operations. Now, the scale here is immense. The demo dumps you on a planet. There's canyons, the color of dried blood, neon swamps glowing like someone spilled reactor coolant on a rave, and then you can just jog on foot or you can just boost yourself across the map in your mech. Now, there are no loading screens, no fade to black hand holding. The open world aspect is fantastic. Between the fast travel locations and the random events, the world feels genuinely alive, and that's my immediate gripe with the games that do an open world aspect of things. It's like, make the world feel alive. Even if it is a post-apocalyptic world, you can still find a way to make the world feel somewhat like it's living, breathing. Every enemy icon you spot, whether it's some spider tank sunbathing on a cliff, there's monsters flying around, there's random AI drones trying to murder you, it's something can be done right then and there. Maybe you're helping some different agents out trying to make sure that they are alive. There's many different cause and effects that are happening in the world, and you're just basically propped right into the middle of it. Now, combat is where this game truly shines. Unlike the utter chaos of Mecha Break's combat or the more grounded feel of Sensuality of Ada's combat, Demon X Machina Titanic Scion combat finds a perfect sweet spot in between. The old game's circle strafing is gone, replaced by this kind of like tailored, tacked down way of fighting. There are ground fighting, there's aerial fighting, and just like you're just shooting aerial missiles at each other back and forth. And to help you out with this mobility, it is governed by this thing called femto. Now, femto is this power source that is from the immortals or the monsters in this world, and this is connected to your mech's energy consumption. So one major mechanic that I noticed while playing is that we can grab enemies. This allows you to, if the enemy is big enough, you can mount them, or if the enemy is small enough, you can physically just grab them and you can just shoot them directly, or just jam your sword into them until they're dead. You can also choose between 3 armament types. Now, this is where we kind of get our class system in a sense. So there's the assault type, which is basically allows you to have automatic attacks at the cost of speed and defense. There's the guard class for a protective shield that hinders your movement. And then there's your wing class, which is basically your incredible mobility, you fast, very agile, but you lose a lot of your defense. Now, overall, the demo's final boss, Hypnos, was an absolute unit of a Titan. I was throwing hands back and forth. He was throwing hands with me, and man, it was a good final boss for the demo, I would say, because it took everything that I learned, and throughout this fight, it made me need to use all the skills that I learned. Whether I need to kite him, he's throwing rocks, he has heavy-handing attacks, duck behind fallen debris that he's throwing at you. Do I need to swap from my SMG to the assault rifle, swap between my pulse blade to my lance that I picked up mid-combo? And by the end, I wasn't even wrestling the controls. I was literally just blitzing right through it, and it's almost like it just clicked. And that's the one thing I like about this combat, it just clicks. Like I said, it's not grounded as much as Cinderella of Ada, or not as crazy fast paced like Mecha Break. It has that nice sweep between you can be fast or you can be grounded. You can play the game how you want to play it when you're encountering these type of fights. Now, where the demo really dig its claws, the whole beginning sequence feels like this epic fantasy moment where you build your first loadout by picking weapons off of the fallen enemies. You've met with quite a few choices. You can have a heavy weapon or a light sword, an SMG or an assault rifle, and picking these actually completely changes your playstyle. But there is a catch that gives it an almost rogue-like feel. You can only pick up one piece of gear from a downed enemy, so you have to choose wisely, and it's like a weird sensation because you're technically building your character as you fight. And it's like I said, it gives you that roguelike feel, so you got to make sure like, am I feeling more of like a medium range type build? Am I feeling more tanky? Am I feeling more fast paced? You can change this on the go as you continue to pick up weapons. And not only do you pick up weapons from enemies, there's even like dropped weapon crates and everything. And then also every dropped weapon carries random passives. You can just look at it and see like what it does. Does it hinder like your femto gauge? Does it help? Like, there's so much more to just making these builds that can overall enhance or hinder your playstyle depending on what you're looking to do. Then of course there's the fusion system. This lets you combine all of these effects that just feels downright illegal, because that is a real game changer, is the fusion mechanic. Now, of course, in order to obtain this fusion mechanic, you have to get to the tail end of the demo. The boss fight with Hypnos, he basically affects you with his DNA, allowing you to unlock the ability to fuse with the planet's creatures, the immortals. Those are the weird creatures that are roaming about that you fight. There are 3 specific gene types of these creatures. There's the skeleton, the mite, and the shell. Now, all 3 of these can affect the skills that you get. Activating the fusion gives you a physical mutation on your character's body, overall helping that customization feeling that from the very beginning of the demo. And these also help unlock powerful new skills. Now, the first physical skill that I saw was this thing called the Helm Breaker. The passive skill that I got was essentially a buff, and I forgot what exactly it was, but it buffed my defense or something of nature. And you can really see that this is overall altering your playstyle, and the mutations is altering your appearance as well. This type of customization can truly just alter the mech gameplay, and this is a rabbit hole that I may never climb out of, because I just love the random spontaneous like builds on the fly and being able to. Now, of course, you can take any like gear you find and put it into the hangar if you don't want to feel like making that decision at that moment. So that's a cool thing as well. But I just love the fact of like it has that high risk, high reward if you want. Now, another thing that I sadly did not get to actually experience in the demo was the co-op.
I'm just trying to find my place.
Now, essentially, this is supposed to be kind of a drop-in type of co-op, and basically there's a grand entrance type of mechanic where it seems like your friends or whoever can meteor strike in, and then everybody gets a buff for joining the fight. Like I said, during my time at demo, I did not get a chance to experience any of the multiplayer, but once the game gets its full release, I really can't wait to truly see how co-op holds up in these big boss battles like the Hypnos fight or anything else that could be entirely difficult. So that really gives that true feeling of like a mech anime in a sense, where like everybody joins in and it's just having a blast overall. But the dark sci-fi and mech games usually land somewhere between like some crazy weird dialogue and like this Saturday movie schlock, right? But Titanic Scion nails it. Your custom pilot wake up missing memories. You quickly learn the people of this world harbored a deep hatred for the Axiom, which the people from space, which includes you. But after meeting a few fellow pilots like Angel and Ash, you can really feel their resentment just for knowing you came from up above. Despite this, the banter is also top notch. I caught myself just listening to the fun conversations between Toby and Forge in one of the earlier quests, and they have already become my favorite characters immediately. I love Forge. I love Toby's, like their relationship with each other is honestly really good, and I love it. And also, I want to know more about the story of the relationship between Nerve and our character. And the mystery of our past delivers an emotional punch just in the demo alone. Now, to be full transparent, I did not get a chance to play the original Demon X Machina, so I do not know if Nerve is from that game or not. But from my current knowledge of the game, I know that this is a sequel in a sense to that original 2019 experience. But another thing, speaking about experiences, the little things in Demon X Machina Titanic Scion sells the experience pretty well. There are weapon crates or downed enemies that appear on the map, meaning you can loot them for better gear. There's also the weather system, which is another great touch. Rain can actively hinder your mech's performance. The enemy AI can also flank you during combat, making each encounter a badass moment. And then fighting many different enemies can reward you with so much better gear. So if you come across a robot or a mech essentially, and he has a specific new weapon, like I've randomly was fighting this stray mech where he had a pulse blade and a shield, and I defeated him, and then I was like, oh, I can actually pick up the weapons or things that he was using. Sometimes games don't do that. This monster could be using a crazy weapon and I'll have to find it either later in a game in a chest or something. So it was actually pretty cool just getting that freshness of just like, hey, I'm going to commandeer everything off your body and I get to try that weapon out for myself. Or like, everything is just really cool about the way that the little details that the devs put in that truly matter. But hey, if any of that sounded awesome to you and you want to experience more of these in-depth like variety of games, then definitely subscribe to the channel because I do a lot of them. I have a lot already covered on the channel and I can't wait to do more for you guys. But finishing up, let's talk a little bit about my little gripe that I had, which was the overall customization, right? And of course, and this is a minor gripe, I actually can probably care less, but it's just the customization is pretty basic in the beginning, but 90% of the time you're basically sitting in a cockpit. So most of your customization is tailored to the mech, and your actual pilot's customization is tailored to either the mutations that you get from the fusion or just a little bit of presets or a little bit of customization you can do. Now, of course, it's pretty extensive, but from playing a lot of MMORPGs, like my brain for customization can be quite a bit like slightly hindered a little bit, so don't pay no mind to that. Like I said, it's just a small gripe. But the real crime though, the demo ends where the plot is starting to really pick up and the gameplay starts to get even better. So I actually cannot wait to get my hands on the full game and see what really they can do for this. And this isn't just any sequel, but Titanic Scion feels like the team locked Monster Hunter, Armored Core, and Breath of the Wild in a room and said, hey, you're not leaving until we birth a goat. The demo alone gave me 2 hours of mayhem, a notebook full of builds, and I haven't felt this wired about a mech game since playing Armored Core, even Gundam back in the day. If the full release keeps this pace up, we're not just getting a new benchmark for mech games, we're getting a new benchmark for action RPGs, full stop. But Will Outcast, I want you to circle the date because September 5th, 2025 is the official release date of this. So this was a nice little demo preview just to show you what you could be in store for. And I really hope to get the game as well so I can be able to just check it out and do a full-blown review for you. Because honestly, I thought I've seen everything this genre could dish out. And Titanic Scion just laughed, kicked my expectations through a wall, and reminded me why giant robots still own the coolest corner of my brain. See you on the battlefield, and I recommend checking out my overall preview of Cinderella Ada that I've done, just so you can kind of get a gist of how I feel about certain mech games. But as always, Outcast, stay safe out there, and it's been your host, Chaos DTV, signing out. Peace.